Hey guys, what is up? This is Cody, or xCodeh. How's it going today? That was really overly positive, but how's it going today? On today's video is one of those life stories that's a crazy one. This is definitely one of the top 5 craziest things I've ever done, and it actually leads into another story that I don't even know when I'm going to tell. That'll be one of the ones that I'm saving for a big milestone or just whenever I really feel like it, honestly, but it's definitely one of the ones I'm going to save, but this one right here is definitely crazy. This story takes place back when it was the time period where I was all about doing crazy shit, whether that be against the law or just against the rules, such as leaving school, which was actually against the law if I think about it, but just really doing anything I could to have fun. And I didn't really, I don't know, my underdeveloped brain didn't really have the capability of thinking of the consequences, so I just did really anything I could to have fun. I was actually hanging out with one of my friends and I was sleeping over his house, and we were planning on getting really baked. Like, at this point in time, I was probably 14 years old. So I was like at the time period where I would smoke one bowl of weed or like one joint and just get beyond baked. I was in another dimension high. It was crazy. I used to be such a lightweight. Call me a styrofoam cup. It was such a lightweight. And my buddy actually was the same, because we pretty much picked up smoking like every day at the same time, so we would get annihilated high. So the night rolls around and it was probably about maybe 10 or 11 p.m. and we got so stoned, dude. I remember so baked. I don't remember like what we smoked out of, but it was probably just like a pipe or a little metal pipe or something. Even though I don't like those, yeah, I know, I've talked bad about them. I was a youngin'. I didn't have all the glass. I didn't even know how to roll a joint at this point. So we got super baked, and then we went outside, and we just started walking around doing nothing. And then my buddy looks at me and he's like, "You want to fuck shit up tonight, man?" And I'm like, "Well, sure, that sounds cool." Because he had actually done this previously somewhere else, I guess, where he just goes around and I guess do stupid, mischievous things like pick up like lawn lights and stuff and mess up mailboxes and just do like the typical cabbage night type of stuff. If you don't know what cabbage night is, it's the night before Halloween and people just dedicate it to like TPing houses, things like that. Just being a little degenerate kind of stuff. So I'm like, I don't know, fuck it, let's do it. So we go around and we're walking around this neighborhood, and we weren't like intruding on anybody's privacy. Like, we weren't like going into anybody's like actual like living areas or anything like that. We were like on the road, and on like the side of the road near where the mailboxes are, you know. There's like these lights, just like these I don't know, the kind of lights that you put in your lawn, and the sun actually like charges them all day, and then at night they light up or something. He was like taking a bunch of those and whipping them up in the air. And I was like a pussy the whole time, you know. I didn't really want to do anything. I was like kind of scared of getting caught or something. But I remember like there's a point in time where I just started ripping them up, throwing them up, having a good fucking time. It was hilarious. And I remember we were walking past this one house, and I'll always remember this, man. My buddy, he's like, "Dude, do you see that, man?" And on this house, there was actually like another side driveway that led, like, it was so hard. It's so hard to explain this, but it was kind of like an area where you'd maybe keep like a lawnmower or maybe like a pile of wood or something. It wasn't like a shed, you know. It wasn't a shed, but it was kind of like that kind of area. You'd keep those kind of tools, I suppose, or something like that. It's very hard to explain. I'm sorry, I really didn't explain it that well, but basically it was a second driveway that led into like this kind of woods area, and he's like, dude, I know there's a lawnmower over there. Let's go check it out. And I was like, what are you going to do with a fucking lawnmower, bro? We're not about to steal shit. And he's like, no, I'm not going to steal it, man. That'd be illegal as fuck. I'm just going to fuck with it. So he goes over here. He walks down this driveway, and I'm walking with him. And we get to this lawnmower. He, like, picks it up by the back handles and starts wheeling it out of there. It's like 11 o'clock at night. It's making all this fucking noise. Fucking going against the pavement. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing, bro? And he literally wheels it all the way into the main road and just puts it, what was it, like a main road, but it was just the road that we were on. He just puts it in the middle of the road, and then we just start running. It was just so funny. And trust me, I can completely fucking agree of how stupid it was, but I thought it just was really funny that we just did that for no fucking reason. So this is where I did something really bad. This is where, this is a dick move. This is one of the stupidest, dumbest, worst things I've ever done. We were walking down this street, and there was this mailbox. And my buddy opened a mailbox, and I'm like, all right, hold the phone, dude. You don't do that. That's something that's so illegal. You go to jail if you get caught doing that. No, we're not stealing mail, dude. And he agreed immediately. Like, that was just way over the line, way over the top. But me being my little fucking 14-year-old rebellion stupid self, I straight up pissed in the mailbox. I straight up fucking pissed in the mailbox and shut it. And then we walked off, and I was laughing so hard. Oh my gosh, I'll always remember that. And then my buddy ended up finding this metal pipe in a pile of like stuff next to this guy's house. It was by the road. It honestly looked like garbage. We weren't really stealing anything. Like, we didn't have the intentions of stealing anything up until kind of the end of the story. But we'll get to that. All right, we'll get to that. So my buddy picks up this metal pipe, and I'm like, what are you doing with this metal pipe? Now we're walking around. It's like fucking 11:30 at night, looking like goons as it is in these black hoodies, and now you have a pipe in your hand. This is a great situation. But at the time, we weren't really thinking negatively and stuff. We were just having fun at this point. I wasn't even that worried, but like, it got to a point where it's like, why are you carrying around that pipe, man? Like, what are you gonna do with that? And he's like, you know what? Fuck it. So he takes the pipe and like literally flings it over an entire house. Like, the house wasn't that big, keep in mind, but he flung the fucking metal pipe over a house, and we heard it land in the backyard. Now that I'm thinking about it, probably not the best thing to do. Could have hit a fucking dog or something crazy, but I don't know. Nothing happened with that, so we just kept walking. Alright, so we're getting close to where we did that really, really bad thing. So this is the top of the cake, alright? This is definitely one of the worst things I've ever done, or ever participated in, I suppose, because I didn't really do the worst of it, but I was definitely still involved. So, you know, I still would have gotten in a hell of a lot of trouble for this, but I'm glad I didn't. So, let's tell a story about it. So we were walking past this house. This is a really suburban area. Like, there was no cars, nobody walking. It was just a really quiet night, and it was just me and him walking around. And we walk past this house, and my buddy looks at this garage, and I'm like, what are you doing, man? Because he's like, stop it. He stops, and he's just looking, and I'm like, what are you doing, dude? And at the very, very beginning of the garage, because it was open, it was very, very beginning, there was a gas canister. And my buddy's like, dude, you see that? And I'm like, yeah, that's a gas canister, dude. And he's like, bro, I'm going to take it. And I'm like, all right, man, all right. I went into this xCodeh mode, you know, this mode of thinking. And I was like, listen, if this kid steals this gas canister, it's going to be a couple of options. He's going to A, light something on fire, which would be A, pretty cool, but B, very illegal, and it would probably fuck something up or hurt something or do something bad, and we might get in trouble. And then B, what else could he possibly do with this gasoline? Because I didn't know what he was trying to do with it, but he creeps up and literally snagged this gas canister and ran for his fucking life. And it turns out there was only like a quarter of a tank of gas, or a quarter of the container's worth of it. And then we're running, and he's running like a little fucking goblin because he's got this canister in his hands. So we ended up getting to this end street. And I say end street because it's one of those streets that doesn't have an outlet. There's not many houses on it. There's just really like a waste of pavement. I don't know why they made it. I mean, there was some houses on it, but it's kind of like an abandoned road almost. It almost looks like that. Like it's kind of like broken up and stuff, but we're walking over there, and he's got this in his hands, and he has this whole idea, this whole scheme in his head, and I'm like, what are you going to do with that, man? Because he hadn't even told me at this point. So what he ended up doing is he goes to this road, and he pours the entire gasoline thing out in a giant line, like a whole giant line, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like getting spooked. I'm getting like worried at this point. And he takes out his lighter, and I'm like, bro, what the fuck are you doing, bro? And he lights it, and it just goes up in flames. And I'm like, holy shit. It like illuminated everything around us. The light was like reflecting off the houses. It literally was like it's daytime outside in the middle of this street at like fucking midnight. And I'm sitting there like, what the fuck, bro? We need to go now. And I looked at him, and he looked at me, and he started cracking up laughing. And I started laughing so hard for a second. But then he was like, no, seriously, let's fucking go now. And then we started running for our fucking lives, man. I was so scared. Like I was like 14 years old, and I was doing this kind of shit. And it was like, oh my God, it's traumatic, man. Like my heart was racing. We like ran all the way back to his house. I don't know, like I remember talking to him about it, like that was just so fucking crazy, and it could have started a fire, but like I can assure you guys that, this road, it wasn't like there wasn't trees above it, there wasn't like anything really around it except like a bunch of rocks. So I mean, it really, obviously it could have, but it didn't start a fire. We actually went back later that night to make sure, which was really stupid. You never return to the fucking scene. That's how you get caught. But like, we wanted to make sure because for obvious fucking reasons. But like, still, it was just a crazy night, crazy time, something you should never do. And I hope this video can like get that excitement out, because you don't want to be doing this kind of shit and go to jail. No, my computer, no, don't go into standby. All right, we're good. You don't want to be in one of these situations where there's a fucking cop that rolls up on you where you're pouring gasoline on a street. So, like, seriously, take that into consideration, please. I don't want any of the lifted legends out there to be fucking arrested for A, stealing something, or breaking lights, pissing in mailboxes. And I want you guys to have a fantastic day. Drop a like on the video, or I'll piss in your mailbox. I'm just kidding. Or I'll ship you a crate of bananas. Stay high, stay lifted. Peace.